Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this Prada inspired corset top with a painted detail. I started out with a plain white t-shirt, some ribbon, an eyelet kit, a shoelace, and some paint. First I'm going to make the corset detail, so I am going to lay out my shirt and sort of measure how long I want these eyelet strips to be and also try to figure out the placement. So I decided on 10 inches. So I have this leftover ribbon that was from some kind of wrapping that I'm going to use as my little strip. You could also use a strip of muslin, any kind of fabric, and I'm just cutting these to be 20 inches long so that I can fold them in half and they will each be 10 inches long. So like I said, I'm going to fold them in half and then I will stitch down the side there so that they are attached as a loop. Now that they are loops, I'm going to turn them inside out so that the raw edge is on the inside, and I'm also going to do stitches down the sides of these strips. So I'm just going to pin them in place to make sure it stays straight and then carefully go down the very edge of each side with my sewing machine. Next, I'm going to take my eyelet kit. These are great. They come with instructions. You're also going to need a hammer with it. And I'm starting out by just eyeballing where I want my eyelets to go. You could very easily do math and do the measurements for how evenly to space these apart, but I just like to eyeball things. So I'm doing that for both sides, and then I am using a fabric marker to mark the points, mark the center points of each eyelet so that I know where to make a hole. Now I am going to make the holes. This took a bit of trial and error. I am starting out using an awl and then I couldn't get the hole big enough, so I'm using the scissors, going back to the awl, kind of just messing with it until I got a good method. I think this will be a lot easier if you are using a different kind of material. Just the way the fibers of these like ribbon pieces were made it more difficult. But I did finally get the grommet piece through, and then you're going to put it down onto this little base and add the clear plastic ring, and then add the other side of the grommet also. And then you will just place the little grommet punch peg thing into the hole and hammer it. I recommend doing this on a padded surface or like putting something down like I did here with this scrap piece of fabric, just to protect whatever surface you're working on and also dampen the sound. And now we have a grommet. And now we just have to do that a bunch more times. Now that my eyelet strips are complete, I am just eyeballing where I want them to go on the shirt. I did modify the design a bit from the Prada version, making the strips a little shorter and placing them a bit lower. I just thought it would be more flattering for this shirt and my body type. So once I have those placed, I am going to pin them carefully on these sides. And now I am just doing a line of stitches down the outer side of the eyelet strips to attach them to the shirt. You want to be careful when you are doing this on a machine that you don't hit an eyelet. It might help if you use a different kind of foot, but I just used the standard sewing machine foot and I was fine, so try it out or don't. And now to paint on the designs. These kind of remind me of American traditional tattoos. So I had initially tried to freehand these designs and they looked terrible. So here I am cutting out a stencil of a butterfly and also cutting out a rose. And then I am going to lay them out on my shirt and trace them with my fabric marker again so that I can follow those lines with paint. And then before you start painting, you want to be sure to put a plastic bag or a piece of cardboard or something in between the layers of the shirt so the paint doesn't bleed through. I am mixing black acrylic paint with a mixing medium that is supposed to be specific for fabric, although acrylic paint does last well on fabric on its own. And I accidentally made a mistake, so just quickly going to cover that up and just filling in these designs with the paint mixture. Then I decided to freehand some more designs onto the shirt, so I am just doing an anchor in the center. And taking inspiration from the original design, which had a chain link kind of around the lower torso area, I decided to instead put it around the collar. And then just filling those designs in with paint as well. Once the paint was dry, I threw the shirt inside out in the dryer for a few minutes to heat set it, and now it's complete. And I just laced up the eyelets with this shoelace that I had. If you want it to look more like what was on the runway, I would use a way longer cord and tie it a lot looser, but I think this tighter style is a little bit more flattering for me personally, so I like it this way. You could also lace it from the top down. I think this is a really interesting and easy, fun way to spice up maybe an existing graphic tee or band tee that you already have. Just add the eyelet pieces and it would be a whole new shirt. I hope you like this DIY and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one.